When you think about your place in the universe, what comes up for you? Do you feel infinitesimally small, or do you have a sense of your connectedness to the whole? Do you feel voluminous and large and infinite? Maybe a little bit of both. I know that for me and the members of my community, we're in a continual exploration about what it is to be human, what it is to be on earth at this time, and what our sacred assignment might be. This is one of our paintings from one of my classes called the Red Madonna. And this is representing the Divine Mother, the Divine Child, the community and the cosmos, the nature and the butterflies, the moons, which I'm still developing, the bees, the natural universe, all the elements. And then here's this little character right here. And this little character represents me, my space in the sort of unfolding cosmology, what I personally believe. By working with what I believe and my place in relationship to it, I'm able to be more powerful and also be in a state of enchantment and even worshipfulness with the creation and the creator, a sense of awe. And in my work with intentional creativity, that sense of being in a relationship with the cosmos and the earth and the creator and the human beings informs all of my work because I'm here to be of service. When we don't know who we are, where we stand, and what we believe at any point in our journey, sometimes it's challenging to really make a stand coming from authentic power and possibility, because we haven't necessarily identified in language and in image what our place in it is. And so we often feel lost, like we came from somewhere else, or we're waiting for our real parents to come pick us up. Rumi says, this drunkenness began in some other tavern, and whoever brought me here is going to have to take me home. I identify with that sense of, who am I? What am I doing here? And what is really mine? And so part of the work that we do in our community is to explore what your place in the universe is. And we're going to go through a simple, although deep process to discover that for ourselves. This is a wonderful way to complete certain cycles of our lives and then move into the future. All you're going to need is a pen and paper. First, I'm just going to explore the idea with you a little bit to get us ready. And if you do happen to be working on a larger painting with an intentional creativity, either completing one or starting one, wherever you are, you're welcome to experiment with this right onto your painting. Then we'll go over to the paper and pen. So I'm going to activate this image, which I created a few months ago, and I'm going to activate it simply through adding paint again, just bringing a little bit more presence. And whenever you're working on a longer painting, and if you've left a section for a while, you can go ahead and do this where you're just activating it. And I'm saying, here I am. This is representing me. And then I invite you to make a circle. And I understand that this is my sphere that I live within. This is my field. And your field goes out 15 to 20 feet all around you, above and below. And so you want to imagine yourself like that. And then I'm going to draw the sign for Earth, the sign for the four directions, the equilateral cross. And those are identifying the areas that we're going to be exploring in our personal cosmology, our place in the universe. And again, we'll take this to pen and paper with you in a moment. But the idea is that while you're moving your brush, you're actually beginning to receive information. We call this metacognitive painting or metacognitive drawing. Metacognition is to think about thinking. We're thinking about thinking while we're moving the brush. And so we're identifying ourself in the middle of our own sphere inside of this larger context of the universe. And now we're going to begin to explore these different areas. So the first area of exploration is your relationship with Creator, with Source. What is it that you think about that at this time in your journey? I'm not necessarily talking about religion, but just what is your feeling about how things originate? Do you go to evolution? Do you go to the Big Bang? Do you go to one of the familiar creation stories that you were raised with or one you took on recently? What is your story at this time about your relationship to the Creator? In my world, I have a Creator who created a creation, and I am a creation within the creation, created to create. And when I create, I engage with the energy and power of creation. And when I choose to be intentional, that creation and that creativity is offered up as a return of thanks to Creator. And so as you're exploring your relationship with Creator, if you are painting, you can just make dots and lines as you consider that thought. And so you're just considering, what's my relationship with Creator? First inquiry into your personal cosmology. Well, actually, your first inquiry is to really put yourself in it. And so this is one. Who am I inside of this? Two, what is my relationship to Creator? Indigenous cultures all teach about right relation to. And so that's what we're exploring. What is your relationship to yourself, to your Creator, or however you think about Source? And I'm going to put an arrow because this is in motion. We're exploring this while we move into this. This next one is cosmos. What is your relationship to the cosmos, the universe, the planets, astrology, astronomy? If you imagine yourself and Creator and then the cosmos, the universe, what is your relationship to that in that? If you know that you are 93% stardust, and maybe that will help. What is your relationship to the universe as the place where you live and have your being? We know that we're traveling extremely fast through space. The stars that were beside the trees outside of my home are different than they were when we started. We're moving fast. If you want to know how fast, you can look at the setting sun, how far it seems from the horizon, and then how quickly it seems to disappear as the earth is actually moving up. Watching the moon cross the sky. When I go to bed at night on a full moon, I can see out the back of the house that moon rising over the hill. And then by the middle of the night and the early morning, it's on the other side of my house. That's how fast we're moving. We're in motion, and you're a part of that. So you imagine yourself as a part of this cosmic happening. Another arrow, and now we're exploring Earth, your relationship to Earth. One of the ways that we awaken to Earth is the desire to preserve and to protect. For some of us, that's as simple as recycling, and for others, it's as complex as having, a prayer in a cathedral of trees, blessing and baptizing ourselves in a body of water, the earth, and all the creatures. What is your relationship to Earth? Do you feel like you belong here? Is this a foreign place? What is actually going on? And what is your relationship to Earth? Do you have a clear relationship where you are in a space of reciprocity where you're giving to the earth and the earth is giving to you? What is your relationship to that? Because you are standing on top of the earth with your head in the stars. Get a sense of that feeling. Your relationship to Earth. And now finally, your relationship to humanity, to other humans. What do you essentially believe about humans? What do you believe? What have you been kind of carrying around as a story about humanity? Like, really? Have you felt like we're doomed? Or do you wonder what's going on? Like Grandma used to say, well, it seems like we're going to hell in a handbasket. What story have you created about your relationship to humanity? And have you made a decision about humans as a whole, except the ones that are close to you? Like, what are you thinking about humanity and where we're headed? And then return to the center and really make a connection with yourself as being on this crust of the earth and having your being inside of this sacred space. Okay, so once again, you can do that on your painting if you want. Otherwise, we're just going to do the simple wheel. And you can just write this out. So, you're going to draw your circle. You're going to draw some representation. People say I can't even draw a stick figure, so let's just draw a stick figure. I'm going to put a dress on my stick figure. I put a hat on my stick figure. Do something that represents you to you. So that's why I'm putting a hat on her. All right, there I am. You could also just do a heart if you want to represent you. But the importance of orienting yourself in the middle of the sphere is really important. This is I am here. Okay, so I am here, and what am I doing here? What is my relationship to myself? Next, we go to creator or source. What is my relationship to creator or source? Next, we go into the cosmos, the universe. What is my relationship to this? And in creator, what you believe about that has probably changed over time. So I love to say what I'm present to right now. And in my own cosmology, I say, whoever it is that made all of this beauty that I'm so in love with, that's who. That's who. And that who lives here. And so do I. I live in the same cosmos. And in these, you can decorate these however you like. What images come up for you? I feel like a hand, I think of creator's hand. I think of the voice of the creator emanating. I think of stars, cosmos. Obviously, I think of stars, and I think of the Milky Way. You can illustrate in there. You can take this any place you want. This is just like a little seed. And then we're going to go into earth, and this is our earth home. This is where we live. This is plants and soil and all the elements. You might want to put earth, air, fire, and water in here, however you feel like illustrating. And as you're just moving your pen, you're actually exploring, what is my relationship with earth? What is my relationship with cosmos? And in it, what's part of what's happening is that energy is moving. Because you're in inquiry and you're moving your brush or your pen, you are actually changing your relationship. Where you are with it is different than where you started. It only takes 5 to 10 minutes for your brain to start changing and relaxing into a new space, which allows you to move beyond a lot of the usual default settings of the brain. You're into a new space, and you can really be contemplating who you are from a new space. And then from earth, we're going to go into humanity. I'm going to draw just the heads of humans, bodies and heads, okay, humanity. And all of these are informing me, and I'm informing them. So I'm putting arrows going toward me and arrows going back out. So all of this is moving and informing, and then all of it is also moving toward me, and I'm also moving toward it. And I'm going to put an earth line, a horizon line, under my feet to say, I am here, I belong here, I have work to do that is sacred, and I'm going to show up for it. At the next place, if you want to, you can add paint into these sections and really just spend this time. This is really a meditation on your place in the universe, and really knowing where you stand is part of what's going to support you in moving from a stand into a walk. We always talk about making a stand, and we also talk about path. But when you know where you stand, you get to walk down that path being who you are, knowing that you have a place here, that your story is relevant and important to the great unfolding, and most essential is your awareness in the place of it all, that you feel like you have a sense of belonging to it, and also a sense of you belong to Earth and cosmos and creator and humanity, and creator and cosmos and earth and humanity belong to you. If we all belong to each other, then we are together on the red thread. The red thread, which is a sign of connection, extending from our hearts to each other. Legends say that those who are supposed to meet are connected by this invisible red thread, and eventually we will find each other. And if you're watching this right now, hanging out with me in this little red thread cafe moment, then you are on my thread and I am on yours. Let us walk forward together in the world, believing in each other and in the possibilities that we together are going to create. When you know who you are, most of the time, you know how to navigate what's coming toward you. Instead of constantly reacting, you get to actually be prepared and respond from a place of knowing where you stand and what your path is. So I hold you in the spaciousness of the red thread. Dear ones, I'm so blessed to know that you were there working while I am here working, and in that way, we are indeed together. Today, at this interstitial space between years and between the 13th and 14th moon, I wanted to bring you into the cosmos and invite you to explore your personal cosmology. For us in Red Madonna, that is like a statement of belief or a manifesto. As I've been painting over the past few weeks, that feeling of just awe at Creator creating and the likelihood of us being here has just filled my soul. There are stories around it of what it actually means ultimately. I don't really know, but I'm along for the ride. And so my faith that the highest good for all is happening through me and that I'm influencing others toward that is part of my sacred assignment. So today, in this in-between space, as we're looking at our relationship with ourself, Creator, the cosmos, the earth, and humanity, I wanted us to go ahead and add some cosmos. Are you ready for that? So you're going to pick a part in your painting. And I'm going to start with just adding some stars. I am picking up some yellow and white paint on sort of a dry and scrubby brush. And I'm going to, I guess I'm going to do it here, even though I was wanting her to be on the earth, but she's going to be in the cosmos. So basically, you take your finger and you start flicking the little lights. This is best flat, but this is a huge painting. I don't know about you, but I don't really have a big enough floor space. And I'm just adding the splatter. And this is something that you often do at the end, but I like to do it all throughout too. I've been seeing the sun and the stars out a lot lately, so I'm kind of grooving on that. Okay, so once you get a smattering of stars, then you're going to take a smaller-ish brush, a liner of some kind. And you can get a different color. Each time you do some kind of layer, you just modify the color just a little bit. Okay, so going with a little bit more of lemony yellow. And then I also just want to acknowledge that this star technique is something I learned from Sue, my teacher. And I find that when I'm doing the cosmos, because it's so meditative, I just go to another place. I completely relax and my mind can work. Once I know the pattern, it took like 2 days plus for her to teach me this technique. So showing it to you so quickly, you know, she used to call what I do drive-by painting. But this is just an introduction to this. All right. I'm trying to see, have we done any cosmos on this painting yet? I can't even remember. Probably way back. All right. So once you do that, then get yet another, a little bit of a different color. And you pick just a few to be a starburst. So these are not that easy to do, to make straight lines. So you have the center and you pull out. So there's a couple different ways. There's just straight off the dot. The other option is to do circles around the dot. And I don't do a complete circle. Notice it's sort of a broken circle. The other thing I just want to point out is that you want to do these trails of stars, like there's clusters. If you look in the sky the next time, check them out. There's like one solo out here and then a whole group of them. And otherwise they end up being polka dotty. So you want these clusters. And you step back and take a look and say, okay, well, how many starbursts seems appropriate to what I'm working with right now? Now, you can get as specific as you want with these, and I like to pray while I'm doing these, and if something difficult has happened on the planet, I say the names of the people, or I just include them in the process. So you can be as meditative as you want and be in contemplation about this idea of your place inside of this space. The next thing you're going to do once it's dry, so this is many layers. I mean, gosh, if you could spend a day on this, that would be brilliant. And this is why we have this time together, because we're actually taking our time. So then I'm going to take some turquoise and water it down. And this would need to be dry. I don't think mine's dry yet, but I'm going in anyway. So I take this turquoise and I do a light glaze and I tint all the stars. And in some places I go darker, other places lighter. I just do a glaze. So guess what this does? You probably guessed already. It puts the stars back. All right. And once again, although I tell you almost every video, take your time. Don't go as fast as I'm going. All right. Then you come back. Now, this time when you come back, you bring the white and you go inside the tinted circle, making sure that you leave the edge of the tinted circle. So each time you come back, you're coming inside of the shape that you did before, because that background color actually creates the action, right? That's actually what creates the sense of a little bit of depth. And then you do a few more on top. And the idea is that the tinted ones are the ones that are further back, and these are the ones that are more forward. There are lots of other ways to work with those, but those are the basics. And the contemplation of your place in the universe as we move in faith and in enchantment forward. I've been thinking so much about what I really want to bring. I have so many teachings, right, about science and philosophy and Jesus and business, intentional creativity, so many teachings, but I really just feel in my heart that I want to re-engage enchantment and mystery. And that's a little bit of a change for me, wanting so much to explore the intellect and the actual hows and whys of intentional creativity and of creation. Like I'm fixated on, when Jesus was in the tomb and he was actually gone, no lights on, how his body cellularly has to be reconstituted. There was something that happened there, and I call those the resurrection particles. When Mary conceived Christ in the womb, she had to actually create that child. These are miracles that are backed by science. And so my geeky interest in what actually happened to the cellular structure has just provided so much playful, wonderful, deep diving, especially in morning cafes with Jonathan. And now I feel like I'm ready for more of the mystery. I hope you'll come along.